I bought this 20-acre ranch to escape the noise, but nothing prepared me for the siren song of suburban pettiness. That Tuesday, they actually sent a so-called HOA patrol, 3 entitled women in matching, ill-fitting neon vests, marching onto my private property, citing unapproved agricultural vehicles as their first offense. Are you kidding me? The second their leased SUV crunched onto my gravel drive, kicking up a cloud of red dust that smelled like freedom and frustration, I knew this was going to be a cinematic disaster. I stepped out onto the porch, wiping grease from my hands. I'd been working on the restored '78 Ford F-250 I used for hauling hay, the one they hated so much. It was parked right next to the barn, right where it belonged. The air was thick with the scent of pine and horse manure, a smell they clearly found offensive, because the main one, a woman named Carol with a tight blonde bob and a clipboard clutched like a weapon, immediately wrinkled her nose. "This area is subject to the Pine Valley Community Covenants," she announced, her voice pitched high enough to shatter glass. "Oh, here we go again." "Carol, honey," I drawled, leaning against the porch railing. "This land is zoned too agricultural. Your homeowners association covenant stops precisely 30 feet short of my mailbox. We've been over this." My heart was already pounding against my ribs, a dull, angry rhythm. I could hear the faint, comforting cluck-cluck of my chickens in the distance, a sound of honest work, interrupted by the screech of their expensive sneakers on my property. Carol ignored me, pointing a manicured nail at the perfectly legal, county-approved fence surrounding my pasture. Section 4.b dictates that all fencing facing the street must be decorative wrought iron, not this eyesore of cedar planking. And the truck, it must be stored out of sight. "That truck is a working vehicle," I said, a deep sigh escaping me. "Why do I even have to explain this? It hauls feed. It's part of the ranch. And that fence has been here since 1952. The land you annexed doesn't include my deed." Another woman, Brenda, stepped forward, adjusting her neon vest. "We believe your deed has been superseded by the community's recent expansion. We are here to issue you a notice of non-compliance." She actually pulled out a cheap digital camera and started snapping photos of my truck. What in the actual hell gave them this authority? The sheer, brazen entitlement made my blood boil. It was a physical sensation, a tight pressure behind my eyes. I felt the heat of the midday sun suddenly intensifying, reflecting off their smug faces. "You have 10 minutes to get off my property before I call the county sheriff for trespassing," I stated, my voice low and firm, trying desperately to keep the trembling out of my hands. Carol just smirked, tapping the clipboard. "We've already alerted the sheriff's department," anticipating a hostile reaction. "They know we're here to enforce community standards." That was a twist, but not the one she thought. That detail, that little spark of misplaced confidence, was my cue. I didn't argue. I just pulled out my phone. I didn't call 911. I called Sheriff Miller directly. Miller and I go way back. His family leases some of my pasture land in the off-season. He knows the county lines better than his own badge number. The Karens, still snapping pictures of my hay bales, thought I was bluffing. Then, a few minutes later, the distant, unmistakable sound of a heavy-duty engine, not a city cruiser, but a county sheriff's Ford Expedition, grew louder. It wasn't driving fast, but it was authoritative. When Sheriff Miller rolled up, the dust cloud he created was twice as big as theirs. He stepped out, a big man in a starched uniform, slow and deliberate, and gave me a small, knowing nod. "Afternoon, folks," he said, his voice a low rumble that instantly dampened Carol's shrill excitement. "Got a call about a disturbance, possibly trespassing, here on the Gifford Ranch." Carol immediately rushed over, clipboard flapping. "Sheriff, thank you for coming. We are the Pine Valley Homeowners Association Compliance Patrol. This resident is violating multiple deed restrictions, displaying commercial vehicles and improper fencing. We need you to document his hostility." She thrust the clipboard toward him, expecting him to salute. Miller didn't even glance at the paper. He looked at me, then at the boundary marker clearly visible near the edge of my property, and then back at Carol. His expression was flat, devoid of amusement or anger, which somehow made it terrifying. "Carol, I need you to step back." He turned to the other two women, who were now looking distinctly less confident. "Ladies, how far did you drive to get here?" "Just a minute or two," Brenda mumbled. "And are you aware that Gifford Ranch is outside the jurisdiction of Pine Valley and its homeowners association covenants?" Miller asked, his voice hardening like stone. "This property is protected under county agricultural zoning and is explicitly exempt from any residential beautification mandates. You are currently trespassing on private, working land." Carol's face went from smug to pale white in about 3 seconds. "But the map is wrong." Miller cut her off, his eyes narrowing. "It was wrong when you tried this stunt 6 months ago, and it's wrong today. Trespassing is a criminal offense, and interfering with agricultural operations is a quick way to a night in county lockup." He paused, looking at their absurd neon vests. "However," he continued, a slow, predatory grin spreading across his face, "I'm a patient man. I'm thinking we can settle this with some good old-fashioned community service." He pointed to his freshly dust-coated, official patrol car and the one Brenda had driven. "Since you ladies are so dedicated to property cleanliness, you're going to clean up your own mess. You're going to take that nice SUV you drove, get your supplies out, and wash both my patrol car and your vehicle until they shine. And I mean the wheels and the undercarriage. And you'll do it right here, on the property you illegally entered." Brenda and the third woman, who hadn't said a word, exchanged a look of pure, gut-wrenching despair. Carol started to protest. "You can't do this. This is harassment." Miller just folded his arms. "This is a legal directive to avoid a citizen's arrest for trespassing. You can grab the sponges or you can grab the handcuffs. Your choice." He pulled out his own phone, conspicuously calling his deputy. "Hey, Deputy Rogers? I need you to run a full report on 3 individuals interfering with agricultural business at the Gifford Ranch. Start the paperwork for trespassing. Hold the charges pending community service." The sight was delicious. There was Carol, the queen of covenants, on her knees, scrubbing my sheriff friend's tire rims with a cheap sponge, her ridiculous vest drenched in soapy water. The humiliation was palpable. I could practically smell their defeat mixing with the wet dirt and soap. It wasn't just about the dirty cars. It was about the abrupt and definitive reversal of power. They had come with self-righteous anger and left with aching backs and tarnished pride. As they sullenly finished the job, the cars gleaming now, Sheriff Miller walked over to me, tipped his hat and chuckled softly. "Some folks just don't know the difference between their backyard and the Wild West. Huh?" I watched the HOA patrol, silent and defeated, drive away, not daring to kick up dust this time. Justice, as I learned that day, isn't always served in a courtroom. Sometimes, it's served with a bucket of soapy water and the clear, unambiguous authority of a good county sheriff. Respect boundaries or karma will make you scrub the floor with your own hands. You mess with the rancher, you get the hoof.